Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video on the E46. And in the last video, if you watched that one, we installed some Recaro bucket seats from a Corsa VXR into this car. But that didn't come without issues. We had issues with the seat belts where the seat belt buckle wouldn't fit into the new seat belt receiver due to being different sizes, different times and designed differently. So that's one thing, the first thing we need to sort out today. We have a couple of options, but I hope you're going to like the one we've gone for. And secondly, we're going to move on to the rear of the car where I promised a surprise in the last video, and I think this surprise finishes off the car perfectly. It makes it go from a wannabe race car lookalike to a wannabe street car lookalike, and that is the look that I'm going for. So stay tuned for that later on in the video, and let's crack on now with sorting out this seatbelt issue. I've bought these sort of 80-degree angle plates, and the plan is I'm going to attach these to the subframes of the seats that I installed in the last video, like sort of that. And then the bolt can go in there to attach these harnesses to the subframes. The only thing is, that's an M12 bolt and I don't have an M12 nut. So I'm going to use my rivet gun and rivet on a riv nut onto here so we can bolt directly into there and then bolt that piece onto the subframes. So I'm going to do that now. So as I just said, I'm going to use my riv nut gun to squeeze a riv nut onto the harness bracket so I can then screw the harness to the bracket. And just like that, we've got a riv nut on there, so it's threaded. Essentially we can use that to put our harness belt in, so that can thread like so into there. Let's give it a go. Here you can see the tail end of the subframe I used to secure my seats to the car in the last video. Using the extra space on the subframes, I can bolt the bracket to the subframe and then bolt the harness to that. I then simply had to do the same, but obviously on the other side. The fronts were a little bit more technical, having to get that bracket and all that sort of stuff, but the rears are actually really easy because they just simply bolt into the stock locations where your rear seat belts go. And where we don't have rear seats, and obviously aren't having rear seats, then it means that we can bolt these up to the rear seat locations. As I said in the last video, we do have something special coming which I will show you later in this video. It's not here quite yet, but when it arrives, obviously I'll film that. You guys will see that in 2 seconds. And obviously it's not rear seats, so I'll leave that as a surprise for you guys to watch in a minute. I'm just going to get these bolted in and one harness is done. So again, nothing is ever as simple as it should be. The bolts that come with the harnesses aren't the right size for the original seatbelt holes, so not an issue because I've got the original seatbelt bolts. We're just going to use them and swap them out, so they're used from manufacturers and they're not going to be any safety concerns. Going to be bolted up the same, still have the same usability. Let's get that done now. Now I just need to take this off so I can use the normal one. The only issue is there's this little plastic clip, so we'll have to cut that little plastic clip, which just basically stops the stuff from coming off, and then we can use our normal bolt and all the normal hardware. Is that going to be a pain in the ass? The only way is to tighten it and see. Let's see. That's one harness done. Now that's all done, I need to sit in the seat and basically set them, which could be fun. Right, I know that I need to tighten up those. Right, so they can be tightened up here, I need to loosen the seat belt because there's no way. Oh, I can't breathe. Oh. So they need to be tightened up. If I thought these seats were hugging already. Now, disclaimer, I've never driven with a harness. However, I got the buckle style harness, not the quick release, 4-pin harness, because it is more dailyable. So simply do that and then chuck them in. I need to set this, so I'm going to set this and then I'll get back to you. That's better. That's better. Now, as I've said, I've never driven with harnesses, so I'm going to have to take this for a drive, but this is not the only thing in this video, so I'll catch you guys in a second. It's a few days later, and finally, after 6 weeks of waiting, I have what I needed for the rear of the car. As I've mentioned, I'm not going to be putting rear seats in the BMW. What I do have instead, from a company called AR Designs in Wales, is this rear seat delete kit. It's taken 6 weeks, like I said, but I'm going to set the camera up, we're going to unbox this, and I'll show you what we're going to put into the rears of this car. Finally, I received my rear seat delete kit, and whilst unwrapping it, I tried so hard not to cut into the kit with my Stanley, as that would have been a bit of a bad day, and I didn't want to wait 6 more weeks for another kit. So, in Alcantara, we've got this section that goes in the passenger footwell at the rear, one section that's going to go in the boot, and one section that will cover where the rear seats go. So I'm going to get this all out, test fit it in the car, but there is a few things we need to do before this goes in. First things first, because we have the harness in the car, this is going to be in the way of the harness, so we need to take that out so we can put the rear seat delete kit in, measure holes, and measure and cut holes for the harness to go through the rear seat delete kit. I have been using this car for the odd journey to the gym and back, so I have made use of these harnesses so far, and they do give me that fine line between sporty and daily that suits me just right. However, with that being said, to mock up this kit I do need to take them out as they are in the way, and I'll have to make a little modification to the kit in order to utilise the harnesses still, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue. When test fitting this kit, I was actually really surprised on just how well and how tight it sat in the car. It's almost like it could have come from factory in a CS model. Now, if I'm honest, I do feel like I could have made this myself, but I guarantee it wouldn't be as snug as what this is. And it is Alcantara as well, so that's nice. It obviously goes with all the black interior. I do actually think it's a really good kit, and probably well worth the money. It cost £260, but in all fairness to AR Designs, because it took so long to get to me, they did give me a partial refund, so it actually only cost me about £220. There are a few things that I need to do first before hard fitting this, and there are a couple of mounts that I need to add to this as well so it all fits together and doesn't fall apart whilst I'm driving. And one of those things that I need to do in addition to those little mounts, see over my shoulder there is what was the rear seat pillars, where they were obviously quite cream, or kiwi was the colour of the old seats, and now you can just see there's just wheel arch and wires. So what I've done is I've got hold of some black seat pillars, and they will go in place of that, so they will cover it, and it will look basically like a stock interior from the seat pillars and the rear door cards, but with the rear seat delete kit. So that's one thing. Second thing is obviously measure and cut for the harnesses, and the third thing is spray paint that carpet. I'm going to start with the carpet, give that a chance to dry whilst I do the other few bits. Now, don't worry, this isn't regular rattle can spray paint. I have used proper carpet paint that recommends that after each coat you spray, you go over the whole area with a brush to make sure you get all the carpet fibres covered in the paint. So obviously that's the first one done, and you can tell the colour difference already, although that is only one coat, and obviously a bit of brushing just to be able to mix it around for all the fibres. So we'll coat this, let them both dry whilst I do something else, and then we'll come back and probably do 2, maybe 3 coats. So the first side done, it's time to tackle the second. Whilst I'm painting the carpet, I just want to give a reminder that if you haven't subscribed, now would be a great time to do it. It massively helps out the channel and helps me get to that milestone target of 1,000 subscribers. Moving to the back of the car, we need to install the rear seat pillars to give the inside more of a finished look, and that's why I've got them in black instead of the old kiwi colour. I feel like it's just going to tie in much better with obviously the black interior and also the Alcantara rear seat delete kit. Now, hopefully the rear seat delete kit will butt right up to this. I know it will, but hopefully it will butt up to that enough to hold it in. And I may stick some glue on the back of here to keep it stuck in. We'll see, because this also might aid it being stuck in, because that'll go on the top and that'll also get clipped in by this, which will be held in by this. So we'll see. That's definitely going to need some glue, so we'll sort that out. But it's in, it looks complete. We'll give it a wipe down. Annoyingly, when I bought the seat pillars, I didn't notice that the clip had broken, but they were so cheap that I don't really mind, and it's nothing that a little glue can't fix. And now it's coat number 2. I don't know if I'm doing this right, however, I think they turned out perfect, and you wouldn't actually be able to tell that they didn't come like this from the factory. Let me know in the comments down below, do you prefer the grey or the black? Personally, I think the black is much better and sets the car off just right. That's 2 coats now, and I think you'll probably agree with me, that looks so much better than the old tatty grey, and it will mix in so much nicer with the new Alcantara rear seat delete kit. So that's done, the rear seat pillars are in. I need to wait for these to dry. Once these are dry, I'll put them in, and then we'll focus on hard mounting and fully installing the rear seat delete kit. Now, just looking at the colour difference between the old carpet at the bottom and the new carpet, I've definitely made the right choice turning it black. It's now time for that measure twice, cut once job of making the hole for the harnesses to go through. If I told you I wasn't nervous, I'd be lying, as once I make the first cut, there's just no going back. After measuring, I used my knife to cut the Alcantara so I could use my drill to make a hole, and then use my jigsaw to cut a slot where I can then feed my harnesses through. As you can tell, I'm losing daylight, so I'm going to test fit this now. Obviously made the hole. Stick it in the car, see if we can get the harnesses through it, see how they fit, and if I need to make it a bit wider, I'll make it a bit wider for a bit of ease of movement. Then I'm going to super glue the Alcantara that I've cut back onto the panel so it doesn't move, it doesn't look a bit odd or rolled up or misshapen. So I'm going to do that quickly. Yeah, let's crack on. As you can probably tell, the light disappeared very quickly, but I guess that's just the joys of British wintertime. Luckily, I had a couple of lights I could pin up to help me fit the kit. Annoyingly, the harnesses didn't fit straight through. I had to undo them, then re-thread them back through the buckle from underneath. It was a bit fiddly as there wasn't really much room, but we got there in the end. It's been a few days since I fit the rear seat delete kit, and obviously you could tell in the last clip it was dark or getting dark due to the Great British weather, so I'll show you what it looks like now. that is the rear seat delete kit all finished off in the BMW, and let me know what you guys think. Do you like it? I personally think it's gone, as I said earlier, from wannabe race car to wannabe street car, and we just now need to make the outside look as good as the inside does. Also, what do you guys think about these harnesses? Are you a fan? Are you not? Would you keep seatbelt? Obviously we had issues, we could have just put new buckles on the old seatbelts, but I think this sets it off quite nicely. A little bit of red touches, there may be a few more red touches coming in the future, but we'll wait and see. If you like what you see in this video, you like the seats, the harnesses, the rear seat delete kit, there is a lot more to come on this build, and come back for the next video where we've got quite a common mod and what should have come from factory on this BMW. So I'll catch you guys in the next one, and also subscribe. Make sure you press that subscribe button, it helps me out massively. I'm trying to reach that 1,000 milestone at the minute, so make sure you hit that subscribe, it massively helps me out.